Hi-ho, diddly-bop-bop. It's that time again. Pardon the nose blow. Holy me. Alright. Let me loosen the knobs here. So, I did change the settings, guys and gals. I did change the settings. So, I need to plug my phone in and get it set up in the holder. So, you guys know the deal. If I don't destroy things in the process here. Oh, let's see. Here's the holder. Get it phone set in it, and I got to get the charger on it because I haven't stuck it in the charger all day, so you know the deal. We are attached to our devices nowadays. We have an electronic leash. So let me get this, and I need to grab a right here, get it plugged in, and we will get started. All right, let me get this set up here and we'll get started. All right, good stuff. Let me turn all this down. In here, and there it is. All right. Let me get the comments up because you guys know the deal. Everybody knows the rules. I watch that Barstool Sports where he goes around trying the pizza all the time on Facebook. One bite. Everybody knows the rules. He repeats that like 1,000,000 times and he eats the whole piece of pizza. It's pretty cool. But all right. So comments are up. I'm going to set it over here. Phone's charging. Let me move some stuff out of the way. All right, I'm going to set this so we can see what's going on. So, let me open up the garages to get some airflow. Garage doors, that is. Friday night here, we're ranching in Mexico. Oh, the breeze. The beautiful, beautiful breeze. All right. So let me get you guys moved over here. Da-da-da-da-da. So what we're going to be doing is, let me get the cameras set up. So yes, I have changed the format on this back to MP4 camera setting. I am working on it because I did shoot a bunch of video of some Acme threading and we did some live update. So that short curl bar that I was showing the end on, the next day I endoed the other side. Again, I use the term Chinesium steel. There was one piece, the side that I was cutting on video, that thing was so stinking hard. I guess they just grabbed whatever metal they have. I guess who knows what it was. The other side was normal, you know, heated up, bent it, got it straight, tracking, cut the Acme thread, and good to go. That thing's gone. So, well, let's start off first because I can see we don't have anybody up here on yet. We are going to wait till a few more people join. I know it's kind of late. So we're going to do a cleanup and I'll show you guys. I was running the lathe last night and of course I was doing some woodworking over on the other side of the garage. That is for my dad. And I'll show you guys later on tonight. I've been posting pictures on social media. It's a stitching horse for leatherworking. My dad has done, he is 75 years old and he has been doing leatherworking since he was a child. So I sacrificed getting dust on this, everything in the whole garage, because it's dad. Alright, so we're gonna, and even though I blew and blew and blew, you still get dust everywhere. Which I came over here and wiped the oil off of this before I started, so I wouldn't have sawdust stuck in the oil. Which there's still a little bit of light, whatever. I can off before we get started here. All that good stuff. Wait for everybody else to join. All right. Right. Slide that back. That's dry. I know that is. Blow this off real quick. And we're going to be doing some threading tonight. This is more for that same gentleman. Going to be modifying some curling bars, some individual curling bars with extensions on the end. So what I like to do to just is I take and put WD-40 on things because it helps, especially with when you're running flood coolant, because WD stands for water displacement on the 40th try. I remember years ago hearing a Paul Harvey story, and for those of you that don't know, can pull it up on Google. He was a great radio guy. I love listening to his stuff. But so water displacement on the 40th try. It was a deal. I mean, you guys can Google it and find out. But I'll put that down, and that helps because this is oil, or it's a water soluble oil. So I've never had rust issues. You wipe the majority of it off. Water, I've found out really quick by accidentally. I dripped some water on here from the sink the other day, and I didn't wipe it off in about 5 minutes, and it flash rusted. So that's just the chemicals in there. But all right, so I'm going to open this up, blow out in here real quick. Let's throw this in neutral. E-stops in, just because I want to make sure. Garbage is out of the teeth. Alright, so I have got behind me here. So we've got some 4130. And this still has, they came in 3-foot lengths. I'm going to take denatured alcohol and just wipe off the whatever they have on it. Because this stuff comes from back east, so they're always having to fight rust. Where's my rag? There we go. But I'm just going to kind of wipe it off. Denatured alcohol. Quick wipe. That way I have to mark anything, which I don't. Alright. So we're going to slide this in. So we have a lot of this. First we're going to get it trued and get a center on here. We're going to be turning this down and threading it with a hand die. And we're going to be turning it to 24 millimeter 2-thread pitch. Good stuff. Right, let's go in 460, get our light on. Tool we want, this one. Actually, I want that tool right there. That's the one I want. Well, that's a real straight. Still going to take just a little bit. Alright, we're going to get an end in here, and I know you guys are going to want to see. Let me get the camera adjusted. I know that light's probably washing it out. I'll leave you guys back at a distance till we get everything set up here. Ta-da! Wipe this off. Yeah. Nose has been running a little bit lately with all the, we went from winter, kind of a spring, and we're at 90-degree days already, so in my opinion, summer's already here. Southern part of the state, we're already busting 100 degrees. Have a real hot summer. And all right, let's see, center real quick, so we'll get this set up, because we're going to have to do some turning down on this. Slide back, get it out. All right. Now we're going to need this out. We're going to put our live center in. Now I have a lot to turn down off of this. This should be 1-inch material. I'm going to have to make a bunch of... Let's go to there real quick and see. E-stop in. That's nice. Pull that out. Let's see. We're going to run... This insert should be... Nope. I need to change inserts. You guys can see it is... See that grenade? Boom. Thought I heard a weird sound the other day when I was cutting some other stuff. So let's change that insert out real quick. E-stops in. And I think I'm going to try a different insert than this style for cutting what I'm doing here. So let me... And I am betting dollars to donuts this insert is totally trashed. Which I think I've used all the corners on it. And I'm sure when I pull this up it'll probably grenade. Ones that have taken a hard hit like that, I don't even try to use the other corners because it'll blow up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's totally... So, I won't even try. I have a little... I sold all my that were bad, and this is the new batch. So, let me grab the other, let me put some denatured alcohol in there just to get any stickies out. Blow it out real quick. Right. Vern is there. Hello, Vern. I see you're in. Cool, cool, cool. Let me go over here and get the inserts that I want to use. Live and unedited. Let's see, where are... I want to run ones just like I have in that other deal over there. And I bet they are in the bottom drawer. And let's see. I am looking for the inserts. Let's see. Where are they? I went through here the other day looking for something and kind of reorganizing. I need another toolbox for inserts. I need to hire a intern to organize my inserts, literally. I mean, it's... Sorry guys, I normally have this type of stuff sorted out before I start the video, but I did not realize that insert was busted. I'm looking because I want ones just... Them. As he frantically digs through everything in the drawer, looking for new, square, everything but. Let's just go ahead and there they are. They were right there to begin with. Ha! Overlooked them. They were right in front of me. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're back. Okay, who else we got here? There's some long threading. Message retracted. Hi. Okay, yep. So, we're going to be doing, we're not going to be single point this. We're going to be doing, so if you're just now joining us, Vern, which I see, we're going to be using a hand die. It's 24 millimeter by 2. But first, because we have 1 inch, or let me blow the... There we go. Alright, 0, and then 0, and we go over to metric. It should be 1 inch should be 25.4 millimeter, and we are 25.4 millimeter. Down to 24 millimeter. Okay, 24 by 2. We're going to hand thread all with this just because of what we're doing. Yeah, you could single point it, but because that's so long, I don't want, you know, and it's a common thread. If it wasn't a common thread or something specialty, I would single point it. Anytime I can run a die, which the guy that I'm doing these for, he actually bought this thinking he could throw it on some 1-inch material, and he realized, nope. And then I know a guy that does this, and so I'm the guy, I've been doing all the weightlifting stuff for him. So we're going to take off from there down. So these are the inserts I'm running. I'm running some Seco, and I'll just hold it up there so you guys can take, because I happen to have the box on this. This is what I'm going to be running. We're going to try this. Yeah, it's a 431. It's a sharp point, but we might as well try it and see what we got going on. And I see we have some loose things here. Sorry about that. I want to make sure that I looked down and saw it flash in and out on the phone. I thought, have I got a loose connection? I want to make sure everything's good. I don't want anything to come loose. All right, let's see. Questions? $25.4. Yeah, no problem, Vern. I know I'm the same way. I see guys over there on social media, on others. Let me turn this up just a little bit while I'm setting this up. Oh yeah, I mean, I see other guys doing stuff. They're like, man, if I wasn't so far away, or if you weren't so far away. That's another reason I like doing live videos. Because I know where you're at there in East Tennessee, it's late, and, you know, there ain't a whole lot on TV worth watching. Just depending. And my little, right here. So I know this is probably, depending on the angle I get it at, it's probably going to make like a stringy chip. But you play with the speed and feed. We don't have to take off a whole lot, so I fully expect this to be stringy. I mean, you know, I wanted to try this insert. And we don't have to take off a whole lot. So, and the thing on putting inserts in, guys, don't go crazy cranking the heck out of it. Doesn't need to be very much. Because when they go through hot and cold cycles, if it's too hot, they could have a propensity to fracture or crack. You just got to hold the insert in place. That's all you got to do. And sometimes when I even do that, they just, because of the hot and cold cycles and everything, or a chip gets weird, it gets tight to get off. So we're going to be, actually I think that does more harm. There we go. And that's better on video because you guys can see here, and I can see without that light, and it doesn't wash it out. So I'm going to turn you down here. So let me ask you this, Vern, because you're in conversation with me here. I know other people have commented about last week, the video, because the format I had set up. Does this format look better than the one last week? Let me know. Respond to the comment over here. We're going to run 460, try that. And we'll use our DRO and dial in the whole hootenanny. Crank down here to the end. Oh, let me double check. Double check. Our tool height, just because. Let's make sure we are where we need to be. And we're right as rain. Okay. Go all the way down here to the end. Move all this other. We're not going to use that. And we are going to use the flood coolant when we're threading. Because that's just a lot to. Whoop, what are we hitting? Okay, so with that, that's as far back as the carriage can go. I need to move, which that's why I didn't tighten this down. Stop in. We need to bring everything up here. Crank this out. Because I have a lot of pieces of this that I have to cut. So rather than do a piece and try to thread it and endo it and thread it, I'm just going to I'm going to thread the whole thing and then we'll cut it in the lengths we need. All right. Excuse me. That sawdust is still in my nose. turn this where I can see it. I'm going to zero it out. Take it out of that. I need to move. At 0, pardon me. And I even wore a mask when I was doing that stuff. Ah. Getting that dang old sawdust out of the nose for the sinuses. All right, let me move that over. All right, so we've zeroed. So what I'm going to do, because we're playing metric and everyone's like, well, just convert. I've got questions here. Let's see. About the same, black frame all around. Theater mode, okay, yeah. I just went to the other format, and I don't know, I've got to play around with, but I've been so busy with things. If that's, you know, everyone complains about the format. If you don't like it, don't watch. That's simple. So what I'm going to do over here, okay, is, I don't know if you guys can see it. Since we're working in metric, let's just play the metric game. Why? The DRO will do that. So literally right now it's on imperial, and we've zeroed. Down here we'll call that 0 point, and we're just going to go to, and you're going to watch the decimals change here. And I'm going to hit on this, on the Sino, the SD S6-2V, which comes on these lathes. You can actually buy this DRO with either 2 or 3 scales. This DRO or a lathe, it's already got everything set up. This will work on a mill. It's got all the pre-programmed stuff. It's got the calculators. There is a book literally like an inch thick that comes with this. I mean, I've had no problems with it. It's great. You can use the calculator and do your math here if you need to. But we're simply just going to go over here and second row down, third button over where it says MI for metric and imperial. Right now we're on imperial. We're going to hit it once. And you watched everything. So now we're in metric, okay? So that way, because we know we've got to go from 25.4 to 24. So we've just got to, and we got to cut that in half. So we're literally going to take 0.7 millimeter off the diameter of this. And that we're going to dial in 0.7, and that'll give us the total of what we need. And my calculator should be right here. Because this is how I do things to make sure I don't get mixed up when you're switching back and forth to imperial. You're tired or you have a long day. So we go 25.4 minus 24 equals, so we have 1.4 millimeter or 0.7 off the total, or 0.7 is what we're going to take off. We'll take a total of 1.4 mil off. So we're going to dial in 0.7 millimeter, which should be up here on the top DRO. Okay, and I've already got my mechanical 0 here, and I'm going to dial in 0.7. Or 0.07, I should say. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go like right there. That's a mil. So we don't want to go a mil. We want to go .7. So there we are. Or I should say 0.07, and of course it wiggled, I'm sure. Go out, let me get all the, let me do this with it running, okay, and you guys can see, I'll face you down a little bit, you can see what we got going on, and I'm trying to, you're not so interested in the DRO, and I'm going to leave you guys wide so you can see, and I'm going to do all this with it running, and I'm going to take a skim cut, and we're just going to measure, again, we're just going to run a hand die. I've got a crescent, we're going to start this, and we're going to run it down, and when we thread, we're going to run flood coolant, so. And we're going to run 460. Let's see how that goes. run all the way down, straight out of the mill. We got lots to go. Instead of trying to trim all this that long, because I know there's going to be a lot of flex, and I can foresee something. I don't want it to happen because this is small material, and I want to make sure I get a good cut. So instead of trying to turn the whole thing down, let's do shorter sections, because again, it's just going to be threaded rod. E-stop in. Let's drop this back so I don't have to worry about the rod flexing and tool pressure. And let's get everything, let's do like this much at a time. Instead of, I was trying to just do it in one pass, and I'm like, nah. Now if it was bigger, you wouldn't have to worry about flex. But 1-inch material with tool pressure, it's going to flex. Let's reduce the amount of errors that we may create in ourselves inadvertently. All right, lots of questions. Let's see, make sure we don't miss any. Same side. Cool. How you doing, Raymond Brandon? He says hello. Hope everything's going well. And my brush. Oh, there it is. It fell down. All right, set it right back there. Let's try this again. Cutting acne on this the other day to set a 4-thread pitch, and that's really coarse. So let's see, with the type of gears we got, let's go to so if we go B4, that's going to make it a little bit finer feed instead of coarse with the gears, without having to swap the gears on the end. B4, and we're going to go 1. There we go. All right. There we go. We just got to get it down small enough to run our die. Cool, that's good to hear. Yeah, that's pretty handy. I like that. Yeah, that was kind of actually handy. Instead of trying to grab here, and I just like the way it looks. I like brass and copper on the lathe instead of hard plastic, you know. it just looks cool. You know, anything you can do to kind of customize your lathe. I got rid of all these plastic handles, and it was learning the machine. I thought, well, let's just make some brass handles, because I like the way the brass looks and feels, and you know, I thought about making these brass at one time. I'm like, nah, but I could, you know. So we're running on a considerably slower. We're doing about again, we're just getting this down to 24 millimeters so we can run this. And when you get stock, it's never perfectly round, even though it looks that way. In the process of getting it just basically round, we'll probably get close to where we need to be, but you know, a 2-thread pitch is pretty, and I can tell the way this insert's cutting, it's going to make some short. It's doing all right. It's doing a light cut. We'll do and thread and cut each of these sections, and we'll just cut them to length while we're on here, because they got to be 8 inches. All right, and don't worry, I backed my tool out. So we're going to do real quick. Take a measurement, just because. Actually, because we just got to be, it's not super precise. We're just going to go in here and go boom. Okay, 25.2. Okay, so getting a feel of everything, and boom, there, next. Let's try, let's do 755. Yeah, that's going to work a lot better. Let's take it quick. I want to get this in one fail now that we're relatively round. I don't want to overcut and have it too small. Set it and let it run, get our depth where we want it with all the tool pressure and everything, because I know once it starts it's going to want to. Especially once it starts doing a full depth cut. 23.98. Now we're going to have to come back and make another pass, which is fine. I'm going to zero that out so I know I come back to 0 and just let it do another pass. You just got to get it down to 24 millimeter to run it with a hand eye. Hot metal. Let's make it a decent chip. you get that outside crust off, make that second cut, I can see when it jumped, which is fine. You just come back, dial into where you were at. You don't really have to have the oil on this, but again, it's just going to be threaded. You're not going to see it anyway. But we'll add a little on there just to make it cut a little smoother. Not that it needs it. A lot of inserts, you don't have to run coolant or oil. Back over here so you don't get the hot chip, although they will pop back here. Especially when you're doing a heavy cut. Alright. Alright. I'm going to do it real quick. Boom. Which I know wasn't full depth, but I didn't want to overcut. We're going to do 1255. So here we go. And when you're doing really light cuts, I found it works good. If you run a high RPM, you'll get a smoother finish. Every once in a while I use 2,000 RPM and I'm working on something, but not very often. Yeah, you can see we got some nice little curly Q chips. And plus it hurries up, gets it, you know, you don't want to sit here all day at 70 RPM and bingo. We're just a little bit under, but that's fine for what, yep, because we're going to run, so we definitely need to make sure we get down in granny gear for all of this. Chips down in there. You gotta watch it every once in a while. You get a chip down in there because it should go flat against. Alright, so let's get this out of the way. Let's get all of this out of the way just because, so it doesn't get under my, like that piece right there. So it doesn't get in the felt. There we go. Alright, now we need to put a chamfer on that to start. And let's do 460 will work. And I found out if you do that and kind of make a good lead in when you start, you can use that or a file. It'll help, especially a die like that. Now generally some of these dies Make sure we don't have any questions here. Yeah, carbide does like pressure, Vern, you're absolutely right. So sometimes on dies, they will say start from this side, or if you look at them, they'll have like a lead in. But I'm not seeing it on this one. But I always double check. Now the customer brought me this die. Honestly, this looks like a rethreading die. I'm not sure. But he brought it and we're going to use it. And if it doesn't work, then I'm going to single point everything. So we're going to do that. And we are going to run flood coolant. So let's prime our flood coolant. And it's pumping. Okay. All right. So we're going to pull this out. Blow all this stuff back. There we go. All right. All right, big hex die. If it was round, I've got die handles. This I don't. So what we do is we get the big mamma jamma crescent. One big mamma jamma. Get that song stuck in your head. And I did have it over here. That's what happens when you go to look for it, you can't find it. There it is. It's even got sawdust on it. Alright. Desired way to do it, and I don't have a die handle, because this is the only one of these dies, which he's like, you can have that. I don't know if this crescent will work if I gotta go get, I gotta go get an end wrench. So, I've got big end wrenches. Let's measure how big. We'll flip back over here real quick to Imperial. And I need to dig out a 2-inch, 196, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I've got a 2-inch, and I've got them stashed everywhere here. So bear with me while I go over here and grab a 2-inch. I could have swore I had one right over here for this. Unless, did I put it back here? Because sometimes, yep, I had that here. 2-inch, voila, and we can lock that bad mamma jamma right there. So there we go. So what we're going to do, okay, we're going to get this started. So how I'm going to get this started is, to get the deal started, we're going to get rid of this first. Okay. There's a method to madness, trust me. We're going to throw this in here real quick and we're going to open it. So what we're doing is essentially pushing against the outside, you know, something big. Okay, so we're pushing there to get it started. As soon as we get it started, we're going to stop, we're going to switch over, we're going to put our live center back so that we're supporting all of this. Okay, so now we're going to come up here, run this back up. Oh, because I want this on here the whole way. I don't have to worry about it slipping off. So I'm going to set that there, get this over here, lock this down, a little pressure on that, and this is where the bump button comes in. Alright, I'm going to let this support right there. And make sure you are in low gear, because whatever you hit that button, whatever gear that's in, that's what it's going to do. So I'm going to start a little bit with oil, and then we're going to, because it's water-based soluble oil. I have barking spiders chasing me tonight. A little oil. Okay, we're just going to start it here. Alright, this is gonna be fun, fun, fun. Yep, I didn't get it tight enough. That's what I was worried about. And turning these big dies like this can be the challenge right here. Let's get started. I have got the deal. right here. Let me get a little bit more bite. And ready? Well, I don't like that. Yeah. No, 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 no. Let's back this up. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Unless, I mean, the die is doing this, but if the thread's cutting straight, then it's like, well, the thread looks straight. It's just seeing the die doing this, you're like, well, and the other thing too is I don't have the center supported, so let me blow this out real quick and we'll start again. It was like, if we're gonna make a mistake, let's do it right. And again, I don't know what brand die this is or whatever. The customer got it, and it's a 2-thread pitch, 24 millimeter. Okay, so yeah, it's turning straight. It's turning straight, and it's already started. So that was the goal, is to get past the start point, so that we have no accidental oopses. Let me e-stop in, slide this back. We're going to get our lathe center in so we don't cajole things here. So we don't mess it up. That's okay. We have to run just a little bit more. Good. Now I just have to keep up with. Okay, we're going to do flood coolant. Yeah, just trying to keep it turning. That's the trick. That's the trick right there. Get this a little bit tighter. It's not liking that. What we might do is just stick with oil and run through a bunch of it. Let's try that. I got a lot of oil. Now I can see this far that that's not. Yeah, that's not going to work. I can see now that I've done enough thread. That die is a rethreading. I was afraid it was a rethreading die. So, yeah. And it's doing, you can see it. Oh yeah. Yeah, it started digging real, so this is a good, okay. This is a good, if you didn't get a, that would explain why it bound up. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. But I told him I'd give it a try. The vicious Datsuns are out. Okay, he stops in. So I was afraid of that. He purchased a rethreading die, which we got it started even. But this is a good example of, this is why you don't use a rethreading die. He was told, no, you can cut threads with this. Most any of them that you see, an actual cutting die will have one side that you'll see the threads will start, just like on the end of a tap. They'll start, but you can see on this side and then the other side, they're the exactly same, which means all they are is they're a rethreading die. So let's say if we had some boogered up threads, that's what this is used to do. So, which I told him I'd try it, you know. I mean, I could have been wrong, and they told him it, and obviously you can't, because I have had this happen before when I was very young. This is why there's like threading dies and rethreading dies. As you see, it started to dig in real deep on one side and then not on the other, because it's just doing this, and eventually it bottoms out, because it's just, you know, they're not cut or designed to, they're designed to chase threads. So no big deal. We've wasted a little bit, not a showstopper. So I'm not going to spend a bunch of money on that. We'll go back to the good old-fashioned, we're going to single point all of this stuff, which I was kind of expecting that. No big deal. Let's choke this up, part this off. Man, I got that sucker tight. Actually, you know what? Because I got such a good bite on that, I don't want to undo it. Well, it don't matter at this point, because I'm going to single point it anyway. I'm not turning a die, so he stops in. So on the Grizzlies, a half breaker bar to 3/8, because it's a 3/8 that's actually in there. That'll work. Because I'm not going to waste trying to part this with all and blow a parting blade. I'm going to real quick that's what a bandsaw is for. When you have a bandsaw right behind you and it's not a critical cut, use the bandsaw. So we're going to, ta-da, we're gonna bandsaw the end off. I was very, you can see it really dug in right there. Work where you're putting on it. Look at that big old burr. We got to clean that up, but I got a lot of material to use for all this, so let's see. Open that up, raise that up. Let's lock that down. Just bandsaw that little piece off real quick. I'm gonna have to move this out a little bit. I need to win the lottery. There, that way I can clear that. I will show you guys what happens when you try to use a rethreading die to thread stuff. Okay? See how it starts to eventually dig in and not on the other side? Okay? That die was not designed to cut threads anew. And yes, it was started straight, but they just... I learned that lesson at a very early age, and I always talk about the old guy that taught me how to run some of this stuff, and that was one thing he showed me in the difference. I'm like, what's the difference between it? And he showed me. But I mean, you can tell by looking at them. Like I said, if you look at a tap and you see how it starts with no teeth and it gets gradual, same thing on a die. You'll see like no teeth, and then a die will usually typically start from one side. I mean, I've got my little Craftsman set I use there all the time. Or you see it says start from this side, but if they're the same all the way through and there's no ramp in, like a gentle start, it's a rethreading die, and that's what it'll do. But I told the customer, he bought it, he said, here, use this. I told him, I don't think it's going to work. He says, please try it. I did. And if he wants, he can go back and watch the video and see, which I'll show him that part. So, all right, get back. We're going to set up. Happy, happy, joy, joy. And what I usually do after I run coolant, because again, it's not just straight water, is that's why I run the WD-40 or the other stuff, is you just blow it off, the bulk of it, and you don't have to worry about it. Like I said, I've showed you guys before the stuff that I run. When I come back in, we'll just do a quick wipe down, get the bulk off, and we'll do I'll squirt oil into the ball oilers at night before I go in to force out any that's underneath the felts. All right. Okay, so let's get that back in here. So what we're going to do is there's going to be lots of, which now I need to throw it back in and true up that side. So let's go in here, let's true this up, let's get us a center again. 460. Facing tool, face it. I'm going to need to drill it. And we're going to need this center here. Alright, let's get a chamfer started on that. Let's just do this. That's going to be a boatload of single pointing. That's like having to single point a gazillion. Because I've got to do... Let me go look at the list. I'm wondering if I even want to single point all this stuff or just order the die and charge him for it, which I think I may end up doing. Because trying to run that much thread that long. So that would be a total of 64 inches worth of thread for all the pieces that he needs. I was just looking at my little build sheet. 64 inches. Holy cannoli. I don't think I want to thread 64 inches. Let me see. That's a 2.0 thread, which, I mean, I can do it. C3, 1, 2, yeah, and I'm set up for it right now for the course, or actually, yeah, I'm set up with the T2 setup because I got my 48 on the top because I was doing the 4 on the other, so yeah, I'm set up for it. But holy crap, that's like 64 inches of thread because every piece is, because I've already cut these and I got to make some more and we might switch over to doing that. I've got to dress these up. So we're going to have a piece 8 inches long and it's going to thread into here. And then what I'm going to do is weld it on the back side, dress it up, and we're going to knurl, a straight knurl on the outside. Then we're going to do 4 holes because I've already made the spanner wrenches. I don't know if I want to single point 64 inches of 2.0 thread. Who knows? Let's see. I know I've missed a bunch of questions here. Let's see. Back up here. Okay, talking to Mature Brandit, I thought Machine Works, Mature Patriot said, some used a 6-inch bolt for a handle on my lathe. I'll be making a new one. Mature Patriot says carbides, yeah, like pressure. HTRAL says, I was going to say, I don't know who HTRAL is, but yep. Anyway, yeah, 64 inches of thread. That's a lot of thread. Let me see here. I'm going to use my phone here for a minute. I'm going to pop out of my app and let's just do what if. 24 by 2 die. Go to eBay and see if it's worth. Yeah. And it's a round die. Holy crap, because I have a round die holder. I think I'm probably going to do that. A 2-inch die, 2.5. Well, let me check my die stock holder here to make sure I order the right one when I do. And it is hanging over here. I think it's a 3-inch. But I've got 2 and 3-inch. So I've got this die handle here. That's a, looks to me like a 3. Pretty sure. But I never presume anything. That is a, yep, it's a 3. So I've got a 3. I think I've got a 2.5 down here. Let me look. Dig down in the drawer. The drawer of despair. Well, not despair, but let's see. And that is a, there's another 3. And I think I have a, oh, is it 2? I have a 2. Okay. Yeah, I have a 2. So if I order one, it needs to be for a 2 or a 3. So, everyone's like, where are you digging? Down here trying to, this is like my heavy work drawer. I need to pull that out. That is a card for the buffer wheel. I've been wondering what it is. I've got a bunch of these. These are 1/4 it says. Yep. But you guys know what these are probably. I'll show you. Everyone's like, ooh, what's in the toolbox? Because it's just cool. I got a bunch of different sizes. If I can get this one open. Yeah. Those. You know, your locator points when you want to make in something and you need to transfer bunches. 1/4 thread. Got a boatload of those. Need to find another spot for those. As a matter of fact, because I have a, what are those? Transfer screws, 67. Yep. So I have another drawer that I can put all of these. Yep, all of these transfer screws can go. Yep. And there, as a matter of fact, some of those ends that a viewer sent me for my, I was fixing my clamps. And a viewer sent me a bunch of those. That was pretty cool. You know, I got some awesome viewers. So, matter of fact, I got a clamp. I've been needing those because I got a clamp that needs those. Might as well fix it while we're here. So this stuff is set. Down in the drawer. Pullers, big die handles, and that needs to be set like right there. That can go right back there. All right. And anything else we want to put in here? Nope. Okay. Those are going to go in another drawer. So yeah. So I'm thinking, which I know you guys are commenting over here on this thing. 1 by 24 by 2. Let's see, is it a threading or rethreading. Boom. Life. So we're gonna order one up now because I'm not gonna cut that much thread single point. He can go down to 1 7/8. 13/16. That ain't right. 15/16. 5 6. Let me try this. M24 by 2 hand die. There we go. All right. All right. There's one from Macedonia here you can get. Nope, I don't think so. Or from China. No, I don't think so. Two-inch. There we go. People that I bought from before. Gonna order it. And it's ordered. I'm not gonna single point because there's a lot more of this same thread pitch that I need to cut on other things he has. That's why I'm buying the die. Everyone's like 64, there's a lot of other things just like this. So I know, and I'm gonna charge him for the die, obviously. Go back to this, ta-da, no. Boom, and we're back. I was going to say how to run a lathe. Make sure I didn't miss any questions. So yeah, I could sit there and single point if it was just a short, but I mean, I literally have a boatload of these things to make. And single pointing dies aren't cheap. So, but that doesn't mean we're done. We'll go ahead, let me turn this over here. Move this out of the way and that. We're going to take this out. We're going to hang on to it right there. Now we do have this big piece. We have some more of these to make up, which I've already turned the OD. It's just a general purpose, and I endoed it. You can see where, you know, we're not too concerned about that because we're not done yet. Drilled and tapped 2 mil or 24 mil by 2 mil thread pitch. We're going to throw that back in the lathe over here, and this is right at the limits of how I have my jaws set this way, because we're going to part these off. Excuse me. We're going to have to be in low gear, 70 RPM. Roll it out, and I'm going to hold like right let's see how level we are. Now I do have some deals we can put back here, and let's do that. Here's some chuck spacers. I've showed these before. Chuck stops. That one got sacrificed to the lathe god. Not what I wanted to happen, but hey, sometimes stuff happens. Get the metal. It's right there. Because we're not going to be spinning fast, we're just going to be parting. Actually, that one's chowdered, and it's not going to do what I want. So we'll grab these smaller ones here. You can actually stack them together. Make sure you get all the metal off. Oh, I got that magnet turned around. Yep, same thing. I had to glue the magnets back into it, and I got one turned around so it does the, no, I don't want to be near you. I'm not that attracted to you. Actually, adding that would be too much, so let's stick with this. All right. So I can wipe my eyes. Just garbage off my hands. Yeah, you don't want to get oil in your eyes. I've done that and it's not fun. There, I had some garbage in my eyes from that sawdust. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually part these off in the distance that I need, or the length that I need them. I'm going to start off with this one first. And I'm going to go touch, yeah, that's the one I need. I'm going to go touch that up on the grinder real quick. I will be right back, guys and gals. Step over here. I gotta dig into the. Actually, I can use this one. I happen to have a little grinding wheel in my drill press I was using for something. I just had to freshen up my... Now let's make sure we're still square with the world here. Yep. Just a little off. Alright, so now we're going to go back to, I'll zoom you guys in here a little bit. Sorry, let me tilt it down just a hair. And I've got you guys back here on the end of the lathe because me moving around and everything. So what we're going to do, I'm going to switch back over to Imperial. Enter. Ta-da. Come over here, 0, 0, and we're going to dial over 250 thou. Right there, okay. Actually, no, these are ½ inch. We got to go 500 thou. That's right. My bad. It's like, wait a minute. There we go. 1/2 inch in over. I'm going to run flood coolant. I'm going to be doing some cutting, and while this thing's running, ooh, and I was in the other gear set when I was parting these off. Let's see. So we are actually 15. Boom, boom, boom. I want to make sure that I am not messing up, because I'm used to having the other gear set flopped over. So let me get this set straight, guys. Sorry about that, because I've got coarse gears in it right now. So if we are 48 on top, our smoothest cross feed is going to be slowest B5. Okay, so B5 and 1. All right. That's some slow feed right there, which is what we want. Trying to get a good angle, but let me just do this. There we go. And let it sit there and feed for a little bit. Back yet just a skosh. You can hear it moaning. Cigarette time. Parting off is always an adventure. Shouldn't be, but unfortunately, at times it is. All right. It's the same type of material. So this is EDT 150. Let's try this again. Notice something. It's, oh, the material jumped. Huh. Well, not sure why. Let's clean out. Crank down. Crank down. All right. Must have vibrated out. All right, here we go. Live and unedited. I might not have gotten a good edge. I'm going to feed it here by hand, because you get that sound going and you can hear it. And sometimes you can't get the feed rate just right because that blade's sticking real far out, and you can feel with your hand how it's cutting and listen to the machine. you don't feed very fast, you'll hear it sounds like it's rubbing because that feed rate wasn't fast enough. And I did that on a couple of the other pieces because I just fed it by hand. And that's fine. So I can keep the pressure on it. Check the questions over here. Yeah, rigidity is an issue in parting. Always, always, always. Yeah, if I feed it by hand, I can control the feed and I can hear the machine. Watch my hand and see how fast I'm feeding it. I have to watch the chips here to make sure. Always joy, joy, fun. Yeah, it pulled out again. Well, daggone, you know what? I need to freshen that. I need to dig it out of the and use the grinder I normally use. That's what the problem is. You don't have a crisp, super sharp edge. With this has already cut a bunch. It ain't gonna cut. Let me dig the grinder out, grind it real quick. That's what the problem is. It's trying to push the metal to cut it. And I don't like that. That's all it took. Alright. Stick this out a little further. But we have to go in. Is it pulled out? Once it starts cutting, it'll make a lot different noise now. Hey! Did we blow up? No. Chipped the end of it though. Yeah, we caught the end. Dress it up again. Parting off, always an adventure. Yeah, reset our blade. Tried to slide the blade out of the holder. All right. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Let's make sure when we set this up for parting, we're going to get through all of our material. Right there. Almost through. Still nice and tight. Crank. Oh yeah. You can hear it's cutting and it's not rubbing now. A lot smoother. Having that sharp edge makes a huge difference. And this material isn't easy on high-speed steel blades either. We're only running 70 RPM. Ta-da! What that is for. Ta-da! Wash, rinse, repeat. Zero there. Same thing over and over and over. I'm not going to bore you guys with doing that, the rest of these tonight. Let me get this stuff off my hands real quick. I don't know. I see the camera keep cutting in and out. I don't know what that is about, guys. I think it may have something to do with my internet feed, but I'm not sure. There ain't no telling. Anyway, so there you go. Let me see if we've missed any questions here. All right. All right. Lots of adventurous. Let me make sure you're backed out. Sorry. Oh, other way. So there we go. Make sure I don't trip over anything. Always fun and exciting. Yes, I am going to get some other regular videos set up. I've already shot some. When I had that other format I had last week, and it cut it into short segment videos. I've got the format back to MP4 format, so it'll shoot a 30-minute video when I do standalones. So what it did, it chopped my 30-minute-esque videos into like a 15 and a 12 and all sorts of weird. So the stuff's gone. I'm going to try to piece them back together. I have got some more stuff going on. A teaser about a video. I'll just go ahead and show you so you guys can be looking for it. Let me grab the plans. This is something my father asked me to build a while back. I put it on hold to help someone out with their mess. I'll just leave it at that. So I actually put someone on hold instead of helping my father, and it bit me in the butt. So Dad's been doing leather working, and I mentioned this at the beginning of tonight's video session. Building a, he got this off of the internet. It's a stitching horse for leather working. The book, of course, my dad just looks at things differently. So these plans, if you're curious, it came out of a book online, and it's farmhouse, woodwork, stitching horse, bill of materials. Again, this is like from the early 1900s. So everything is, you know, imperial measurements. And for those of you that are wanting to know what a stitching horse looks like, that's what it is. Okay, all right. You set on it, you press down on the lever, and it clamps. So if you're trying to stitch the edge of a belt or a purse, or he makes all sorts of stuff, it holds it tight while you're doing what you're doing. I've made a few modifications to it. I didn't follow these exactly. I used a modern rendition. I posted pictures on social media of some of the tools I used. I still got to make some metal pieces, like some of the metal locking pieces down here. You see where it sits down. Okay, he got this off Google Images. But yeah, it goes into, if you want to build an exact one just like it, they're on the internet. I got the basic idea and am using my own stuff. Trying to see if there's anything else in here. But yeah, he just printed out just what he needed to. A basic top view of it. You can see there, I know the camera will, when you're setting on it, this is the front, this is where you sit, and that's where the item is held. And then it gives you side view measurements, you know, how much far, how wide. I mean, it's pretty interesting when they show the breakdown of, because that's where I'm at now. I'm making that piece. It's the actual clamp. I've got two pieces of wood cut out, and I've got to shape it and mount it in, and then he's going to provide the leather strap that goes up that locks these two together. A lot of old-fashioned woodworking. Good stuff. Set this back over here. Let's turn this off. So there we go. Didn't go as I wanted it to tonight. Again, I suspected this was a rethreading die, but I've had some of these before that perform just fine for cutting threads because it's a really, really coarse, deep thread. I mean, a 2 thread pitch, a 2.0, that's like really deep. And the amount of threading I have to do, I told the guy I'd try it. I tried it, didn't work. And again, if you try to use a rethreading die to cut a whole lot of thread, that's what it's going to do. It's going to dig in on one side and dive. Now you know. So if you try to use a rethreading die to cut a lot of threads, you might get lucky, it might work. Or this is going to be the result, which now we know. We have the right die ordered. Wait till it comes in, and then we'll do those. And like I said, I'll show you guys that, because it's like, well, let's run a whole section, you know, and run the flood coolant when you have a good die that cuts and you can just set it on there with the wrench, with the die stock holder, and and then we'll just cut them to length. You know, that's the easy way to do it. Make sure I haven't missed any questions here. Nope, I don't see any. All right. Yeah, when I get the new die, Vern, I mean, you guys will see. Let's see, so it's probably what, Saturday morning now? Friday, Saturday morning, so it won't ship till Monday, so we'll probably see it sometime into next week. I can get these done up in the meantime, and literally the only thing I'm waiting on is the die. Because I know there's more of these that he's going to need, so, you know, it was like $30 or whatever. It wasn't like a $300 die. So, anyway, let's see, anything else that I have missed? Getting warmer, that's for sure. Oh, we got another question here. Let's see. Dennis says, I saw the other day the guy said all hex dies are rethreading dies and the round dies are... That's exactly right. He's absolutely right. They are. With the exception of, I have a small set that is a Craftsman die set, and I'll show you. They're not rethreading dies, they're actually cutting dies, and I'll show you one. So he was pretty much correct, with the exception of, which there are thread cut, you know, what they are nowadays. I've got an old Craftsman. It is a tap and hexagon die set, and yes, it actually is thread cutting dies. Okay, we'll just grab the die out of the box here to show you what I was talking about earlier. So, not all hexagon dies are rethreading dies. These actually cut threads, okay? Because this is an old Craftsman. This is a 12 mil by 1.0, and I'll show you the one side. The camera will try to wash it out. There we go. Okay. Now, if you'll notice what I was talking about earlier, it says start from this side, and I've even got some round dies that are that way. So, the rule of thumb I always went by was not whether it's hex or round, because these are hex dies and these will cut threads. You see on this side how it starts to ramp up. I'll try to get the camera to focus. See how it starts to make a thread? Like the end of a tap? And then if you flip it around, okay, because that's like the finish, so you have the roughing side and the finish side, that is your tail. Not necessarily that a round die is a cutting die, which that's just a general rule of thumb. You can have an older set. This is like a 1980s vintage Craftsman. You can have hex dies that are thread cutting dies. Again, what I was always taught was if you look for the roughing side or the very taper it goes in, so you have a roughing side and the finish side. You know, if you look at some others here that I've got in my drawer. Same thing on the old ones. If you look at this old round one, Greenfield tap and die, same thing. You can see where it, trying to get the camera, won't wash it out. You can see what I'm talking about on the threads, how they're starting. You have a roughing side and a finish side. So it won't always say start from this side. You have to look at it and see you have the beginning wide, and so the roughing side and the finish side. That's what I was always taught. Not necessarily the shape. That's a good general rule of thumb, but the telltale sign is just look at the dies. Just like looking at, you know, a tap, whether it's left hand or right hand, you have to think, okay, righty tighty, lefty loosey, or whatever. Same thing. If you can't see the marking on the die or the tap, you look at, okay, I'm sorry, on the tap. If you can't see the marking on the tap because they've been spun off or wiped off because of like laser etching instead of like good old-fashioned stamping, yeah, I mean, you can look at it and see left or right, and then you just measure it. But there you go. That is an actual cutting die. So that was something I was taught as a kid. Look at the shape of the threads. Does it start out as a wide and narrow to the full thread? Or is it just full thread all the way through? If it's full thread all the way through, it's a rethreading die. If we've missed anything else, yep, Mature Patriot Irwin is showing a hex threading die. Yep, and they've got them out there. I mean, they've got some hex threading dies. So, I mean, I've heard that before. Certain manufacturers, they might say if our dies are hex, they're rethread. If they're round, they're cutting. Everybody tries to make their own proprietary stuff. But, hey, you know what? We're all about learning. And there you go. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Like I said, it didn't go the way I wanted to, but you know me, live and unedited, even when I do shoot my videos. I'll just glue them together. None of this cutting stuff out. I wonder how many guys do videos out there that they, you know, everything always looks perfect and excellent, and you're like, you know, parting off goes psh or something, and they don't ever show that, or they might maybe once in a while make a oops video. So, but anyway, let's see if we've missed any comments. No. Oh, cool. Mature Patriot even gives the part number. He says, Irwin is showing a hex threading die, 24 by 2, part number 8568. Yeah, and I saw that on there. And the one I went with is actually made in Japan. I've purchased dies made in Japan before. They're very, very, very good dies. But anyway, so there you go. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Does anybody else have any questions before I end the live feed for tonight? I'll wait just a little bit here. Again, thanks for watching, you guys. Click the like button down at the bottom, subscribe. Go back through my channel, and there's a lot of interesting stuff on there. Yes, I am going to get standalone videos back up. That's one of those things. It's just I've been busy trying to get stuff out, and other than doing the live feed stuff, this has been on the very end of things at night. Dennis says, I learn stuff every day. Even my smartphone makes me feel stupid. That's exactly right. Man, I'm always learning stuff. But I am going to do just kind of a once over. I'm not going to video the whole building the stitching course because Dad needs it. He's doing a holster for a gentleman, a mutual friend of ours. And I've got a lot of neat stuff lined up over there. Some more backing plates for the other weight. He's going to bring me another weight bar, do another backing plate. And that's going to involve some welding and stuff. And I may do a standalone video on that just to show some TIG welding and, you know, kind of neat setup stuff. So, all right, thanks again. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. All right, cool. We'll see you later, Vern. Get out in your shop. Do something. Take care of your family. Because remember, at the end of the day, you and your family is all you got. Until next time, have fun. We'll see you guys later. Bye.